whole crew is here for this week's Test Miles. Pit crew Sean, Ryan, and Brad, crew chief Jen, and our driver Nick Miles. Start your engines. It's go time.
For the next 60 minutes of radio, we're going to talk cars, trucks, and SUVs. In fact, anything with a throttle. It's your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles, and you are listening to America's automotive radio show, keeping you connected to the automotive world, locally created, nationally celebrated. On this week's show, got a lot of stuff going on. We have some vehicles we've test driven out of the Test Miles garage. We'll also find out from Jonathan Klinger from Hagerty. He's the vice president there, public relations, all about their new app and how they evaluate your older car. What truck has the best warranty? We'll find out. The truck company will be joining us on the air this morning to tell us all about their new vehicle. And do you regret not purchasing that tech package from the dealership when you bought your car? Peter from Mobile West will be here. He can solve pretty much all of your problems. I sent him a list yesterday. We'll see how far he's got with all of my problems. A lot of them have nothing to do with cars. All right, let's talk about what people have been driving. Sean, what have you been driving this week out of the Test Miles garage?
I actually had the new Infiniti QX30. It comes in an all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive models. It's basically built on the Mercedes GLA platform and shares a lot of the same units, but Infiniti kind of tweaked their motor and put their own seats in it and did some other little cosmetic. I think it actually looks better than the GLA exterior-wise. But I think it's funny because it's in a segment that Americans don't typically buy hatchbacks here in the States. But if you lift it 33 inches...
It's a dirty word, by the way, in the United States, hatchback.
I get it, but if you lift it 33 inches and add a skid plate to it, Americans love it.
Yeah, then you call it a CUV.
But it's still a hatchback.
Well,
that's what I just think's funny is if you lift it, Americans are about it.
Right.
But has a 2-liter inline turbo 4, 208 horsepower. Gets okay fuel economy. I mean, it gets 33 on the highway, but it rides nice.
CUV, that's all right.
I mean, it's an SUV. Me personally, if I get 30 miles out of anything, I'm happy. I'm used to cars that are getting 9, 15 at the best. So if I can get 30, I'm happy with that.
Right.
I think a lot of people are.
But then you lose the horsepower.
Yeah, I like horsepower, so I'm okay with getting 10 miles to the gallon. But it rides super nice. It's super quiet on the road. It's fun to drive, great in the city. I totally recommend it. Some of its competitions is, like I said, the GLA that it's actually built on, Audi Q3, BMW X1, the Evoque, and the Lexus NX. Starting price is $29,950, which is actually $3,000 less than the Mercedes that it's going up against.
Awesome. So if you had a choice between the two?
I think I'd actually take the Infiniti. I like the exterior of it.
All right. There you go. Brad, what have you been driving out the Test Miles garage this week?
I had something that got considerably better than 30 miles to the gallon, and I could drive it around southeast Portland without getting yelled at.
I'm guessing it only went about 80 miles before you had to recharge it, though.
That's 95.
Oh,
95, depending on how you drive it.
15 miles.
I had the Kia Soul EV, and I think as well documented, I'm a huge Kia fan.
If you go to our Facebook page right now, you'll be able to see the Kia Soul EV versus the new Mitsubishi G4. I'll post it right now because we had these cars and we went head-to-head with them.
I love the Kias. I love the Kia Soul, for one, because it fits my frame. Its frame fits mine well. It has a lot of interior space. And they've added for 2016 a lot of style and convenience packages. But it's interesting vehicle in that it still gives you a little bit of the range anxiety. Does get 95 miles to its full charge. So there's more interior space for this vehicle, more range than a lot of its competition. And I like the fact that it looks like a regular vehicle. Now these electric vehicles are not like the old Honda Insight sort of cars where they look tweaky and weird. They look like real cars, drive like real cars. It's got a lot of torque. It's fun to drive. It still has the color modes as you're driving it. It pops up green or blue depending on how you're driving it. There is one thing. So Kia partnered with PlugShare to find the nearest station to let you know. Hated this feature. When you get below 25% charge, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. Maybe there was a way to do it, but every minute and a half, it would come out with a guy saying, your range is low, find the nearest station. So I said, I got this. I'm an adult. You told me once. I'm on my way to Electric Avenue down on First Avenue. Stop telling me this every minute and a half. So, but other than that, it was fantastic. And Kia sold over 600,000 units. And
by the way, you know what that feature's called?
yeah, I have it, but
It's called the wife feature.
the wife feature.
Can't just be told once. You have to be told multiple
Eve, that is
times.
not true. That is not true. So, but Kia just recently was named the highest ranked nameplate, J.D. Power, in the initial quality studies for the first 90 days with fewest issues. And then the Soul was also the highest in 3 other segments. So not only do you get a great car, some terrific miles, obviously 95 if an electric car is your thing, but quality as well. So way high on my list.
And you would you put your own dollar down for this vehicle?
Interestingly, I could put $0 down and drive it for $199
A month.
a month.
We have from one of your local Kia
Dealers,
All
and
right.
we can get them locally.
Did you ever work that out? You were trying to work that out before the show. Who actually gets the $7,500?
The dealer gets that back. The leasee gets the $7,500 federal tax
Because they're
credit.
buying the car for you, right?
But you can avoid the Washington State sales tax if you do that.
Anyone in Vancouver's now rubbing their hands together going, another way I can get tax back from the government. I drove the Mercedes-Benz C350E, which is basically their C-Class with a plug-in hybrid motor in it. I will tell you, I kind of like the idea of being able to do like 15 to 20 miles on a single charge, because those are sort of runs I do, and then having just the electric charge on it too. So picked the car up on Thursday, have been driving it since Thursday, used a quarter of a tank of gas. Because I've had the car plugged in at home as much as possible.
So after you get to a certain speed, does it automatically convert to gasoline?
I mean, once you rack it, I mean, if you put your foot down and go over 75 miles an hour, yes, clearly it goes into...
It's a Mercedes, so yes, you're driving it that way.
Yes. I'm driving it that way. 2-liter 4-cylinder, along with a 60 kilowatt hour motor inside. Features a 4-cylinder engine, 208 horsepower from that. I think 75 in total horsepower it has, or close to 290 horsepower when you add the both engines together. 7-speed automatic, it has a full range of 4-wheel drive, which is the 4MATIC system that comes with a lot of the Mercedes-Benz. On paper, the C350E will return about 134.5 miles a gallon. Did a little math, little high school math here. $44,000 starting price, I think, for the regular C-Class. $47,000 starting price for this. It's about $3,000 difference. You could save $1,500 a year in gas usage if you drove 12,000 miles a year in this. So in 2 years, buying the hybrid version has actually paid for itself. Now, I didn't load it up. I mean, the one I'm driving is $61,000, so I didn't start loading it up and do the math that way. But at the base model range, it makes absolute sense to buy the plug-in hybrid because you could save that money. So about $800 a year to operate the plug-in hybrid, about $2,300 if you're going to operate it in the gas, the gas version of it. So you can save $1,500 a year.
Is that factoring in the tax credit? I don't think you get the full $7,500, but you do get some.
No, technically you should. It's plug-in hybrid. So no, I didn't factor that in too. So
Even better.
Now even better. Now you're winning on this vehicle. It has everything on the inside: 360 camera detection, collision prevention assistance. It has, of course, the attention assist from Mercedes-Benz, along with all of their, stuff like it tells you if you're getting sleepy. It has all of the cool C-Class technology, and of course follows the California zero emissions, their whole system out there, starting again around $47,000, depending on where you live, what sort of rebates you get, how much your dealer will pay for you. But I would tell you, $61,000, the one I have, kept well equipped and a really nice piece of machinery. All right, when we come back on Test Miles, we're going to talk about a lot of things on the show. In fact, we have a packed show for you today. We're going to find out from Peter about those things that you didn't put on your car when you bought it. Haggerty are going to be here to tell us about their brand new app and also the way they rate your old classic vehicle. And we're going to be talking Nissan trucks. That's still to come on Test Miles. I am Nick Miles.
The left is for the clutch. The right is goes for the gas, and the driver for Test Miles is Nick Miles.
All right, staying connected with the automotive world, you are listening to our car show, Test Miles. I'm your host, Nick Miles, and we're here with the pit crew, Sean, Brad, Jen, and Ryan. And you can find our latest reviews on our YouTube page. Just go to YouTube/Test Miles. Jen, why don't you give us a fun fact if you have a second or so?
Thanks, Nick. Our first fun fact today is in 1983, Hagerty launched a value insurance policy for vintage wooden boats that did not exist prior.
Oh, look at them. Look at them go. Hagerty, their headquarters are in Traverse City, Michigan, and Jonathan Klinger is here from Hagerty as the Vice President of Public Relations, is joining us today. You have some new changes at Hagerty, don't you, Jonathan? You've done a few different things with a new app.
Yeah, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
One of the things that we try to do is empower car enthusiasts, with more information. And yes, as you talked about earlier, our core business is on insurance. That's how we got started. But over the past decade, we've really branched out into providing information about vehicle valuation, and whether that's cars, pickups, and even boats. And one of the most recent things that we've launched is called the Hagerty Vehicle Rating. And simply what that is, it's a measurement of a vehicle's performance relative to the overall market. So is a certain vehicle outperforming the overall market? Is it underperforming compared to where the market is going? And that's designed to give people more information when they're looking for a vehicle to buy.
All right, so let's say I have a car. Now, classic cars have to be 25 years or older. Is that correct?
That definition, that was a definition for quite a long time, and that was really driven by registration laws. But, the simplest way of looking at it is a collector vehicle or a classic vehicle. It's the fun car you don't have to have. If you look at it from a value standpoint, it's once a vehicle hits the bottom of its depreciation curve and starts holding its value or increasing over time. Typically, it's vehicles 20, 25 years or older, but we're starting to see more modern collectible vehicles that are bottoming out in depreciation much sooner, in 5 to 10 years times for some limited examples.
And now, so I have a vehicle. Maybe it's 25 years, maybe it's 10 years old. And as that increases, I can now use your app to do what?
Well, first thing, you can just look to track the value of the vehicle. So the Hagerty Valuation Tool is available free online on Hagerty.com. So you can track the value of the vehicle, or under this vehicle rating, which is a separate section within the website, you can look and see what vehicles are performing the best and also performing the weakest relative to the market. And the thing to point out, the Hagerty Vehicle Rating, it's not a projection of what a vehicle might do in the future. It's a barometer of what it currently is doing relative to the overall market.
It's kind of interesting to me because it gets relatively more complicated the older the vehicle gets. So let's talk about the Nart Spider that was sold at Pebble Beach 2 or 3 years ago at the Car Week. There's a vehicle that was from the 60s. There was 10 in existence, and everybody went through this vehicle. They went back to Ferrari to have every single nut and bolt checked to make sure they were original, and then the vehicle had a history. And it had a story. I'm never quite sure which one is the correct one to use. But when you get vehicles that are really valuable and much older, it gets much more complicated than just typing in a bunch of stuff online, doesn't it, to work out how much you probably want to see it in person before you start insuring something like that.
Oh, absolutely. And, when you're talking about in the case of that Nart Spider, which sold was about $27.5 million.
Yeah.
Remember, I was in the room when it sold. And,
right.
That is an example that was a tremendous price that exceeded most people's estimates. And it simply comes down to there was obviously 2 or 3 people in the room who really, really wanted that car. And it bid to a tremendous price. When it comes to vehicles like that, and this is also why we've continued to to keep providing more information on vehicle valuation is the car community has evolved over time to the point that, especially vehicles like this, nobody wants to be made a fool. And it's much easier to make informed buying decisions, even at public auction, than what it ever used to be. And you're correct. Even though that vehicle had a story, there was very little question it was what is represented to be at the time it was being sold. And a serious buyer would have absolutely done their homework prior to the sale. And also, and I will give credit to the major auction companies now, the amount of transparency that's required in order to sell vehicles like that. It's pretty difficult to hide anything anymore. There was kind of that almost that image of certain cars could run through an auction, we're talking a couple of decades ago, that, someone might be made a fool of their purchase, but it's more difficult to do that these days.
I want to talk about a few other things, based around that car too. It was originally, I sat in it when they were saying it was going to break a record and get $14 million, and then it ended up getting, was selling for 25 plus $2.5 million, of which went to the auction house. So 27 in total. With that sort of thing they were very upfront about that car. They even made a movie about it just to explain it to people. They were very upfront about that car, and they said, this isn't the original engine. The original engine had been taken out in the 60s and used in a boat. The boat had sunk and it was the engine was at the bottom of a lake somewhere, so they had to have the engine replaced. So the car doesn't have to be absolutely in perfect original condition. There are, as long as you know what's been replaced in the car and what isn't original, it's pretty fair game, right?
Absolutely, and that's a perfect example of that, because it was to the auction company's benefit to be entirely upfront of what is the entire history of the car. And sometimes, that just adds to an interesting story about that car's history. What happened to the original engine? Well, it's actually sitting in the bottom of a lake somewhere because it was used to repower a boat when this car wasn't thought of much of anything. That kind of as time goes on, and past our even lives, as far as talking about these cars 50, 100 plus years from now, that just only adds to the history of that vehicle.
Right. No, I love that idea too. All right, we're running out of time here. Two things I want to ask you quickly. First of all is, I'm going to give you $20,000. What should I buy now that's going to be worth a lot of money later?
Oh, geez. Yeah, you don't laugh at this one. Go out and buy an early Miata. Actually, buy 3 of them for that money.
All right. And one of the first generations ones.
Or something a little more interesting, Porsche 944. Those things are hot right now.
All right.
Good one for less than that.
There we go. That's good advice from you guys. The app's online now, and you can use it. How can I download the app and find out more about it?
It's just a mobile-enabled website, Hagerty.com/valuation tools. It'll work on any device you want.
I want to have you back, my friend. You're absolutely brilliant. I love talking about this stuff. Thanks for being on the show. Coming up in Test Miles, going to talk trucks with Nissan. Their new Titan is out, best warranty in the business. Also, Peter's going to be here and tell you all the stuff you can put on your car from Mobile West that you didn't get at the dealership. This is Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
On-road, off-road, high road, low road. They're all driven by Test Miles.
We'd like to thank you for being part of our radio show. Visit Test Miles' Facebook page, you'll get all the latest news there, by the way. And you can also see the articles in the Oregonian. Yesterday, wrote about the brand new Porsche Macan. Was lent one by the good people at Sunset Porsche, and drove that around for a few hours and wrote an article on that, and it appeared in yesterday's Oregonian. All right, fun fact time, Jen.
The development of the Nissan Titan began in September of 1999 and was named for the Titans of the Greek mythology.
All right. Well, joining us on the line is Mike from Nissan. This morning, I was recently at the Nissan launch. They did what they call the Nissan Adventure, where we had 3 vehicles launched, and we also got to see the Nissan Titan single cab as well, along with driving the Pathfinder and the Armada. Mike, so the Nissan XD, which was the first version, the Titan XD, which you brought out, that was the sort of the big boy of the truck department, right?
Correct. Yes, that was our first launch of the XD, and the beginning of the family of Titans. I think you'll see here in the near future.
Now that fits in an interesting space, doesn't it? Because it's sort of bigger than the regular half ton. but it's not quite as big as maybe what we would call a 2500.
Correct. Yeah, it's kind of right there in the middle. It catches a unique piece of the market.
All right, so the biggest news to come out of Nissan was the fact that you guys had announced a new warranty, and this basically is the best warranty in the business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we looked at the market and we found a unique place for this warranty. We now have a 5-year, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. It's America's best warranty on all 2017 and beyond Titans. It's the best in the business, and we're really proud to bring it to our customers.
And then following the XD version, we had the regular Titan. So what's changed in the Titan from the 2016 to the 2017 model?
The 2017 model was the big news is the introduction of the half-ton. The 2016 brought the XD, minor changes for the 17, but the big news is half-ton single cab and the soon-to-come King cab that will launch next year.
Now, I know there is such a huge buzz around this truck. One of the difficulties is, this is a sister company of yours, or I guess a competitor, is we talk about Toyota. They have been trying as hard as they can to break into the larger truck market, and they just have never really made a dent in it. If you start to look at sales in the United States, it always goes Ford F-150, then it goes Silverado, then it's Ram, and you start to look at the other there's lots of this cars that come in way before the truck sales, being a truck nation. You guys are getting so much press about this Titan and taking basically the American companies head on and delivering what people are asking for in a truck. Was that the idea, is to out-truck the truck guys?
Well, yes, I guess we want to, this is a space that we'd like to play in. We had great success with our previous Titan, but we saw an opportunity to expand that lineup and go right head-to-head against the domestic market. And I think here in the near future, you'll see that we're going to launch a Tier 1 spot here in the College 100s ramping up. So you're going to see a lot of Titan over the next few months.
And now let's talk about what the Titan does above the competition, because I'm getting in this first of all, this vehicle that is a big truck, and it drives very much like a car drives. I mean, it's not hard, it's not complicated, it's not it's not unbelievably difficult to drive. You guys made this thing very simple to drive, but the capability is through the roof.
Correct. Yeah, that was the idea. This is an everyday truck that you can use in your daily life as well as a work truck, and that's why we named it the Ever Duty truck. So the novice trucker can drive this vehicle every day, and then on the weekends you can haul what you need to and perform where it needs to be.
Now, obviously, the four-door versions of the truck was the first available. You unveiled when we were at the Nissan Adventure in California the two-door version of the truck. You think there's going to be a big market for the two-door version of the Titan?
We think so. This is the first single-cab Titan that Nissan has produced. And again, as we came with the XD, we found a unique place in the market we think we can have a nice home with.
Do you think the price is competitive enough to go up against the big American 3?
Well, they're very aggressive, and I believe that our price is very right there in the same space, and we understand that in order to be successful in the truck space, we're going to have to be competitive with our pricing.
I think you've done a good job, and I really enjoyed driving the truck. I think it's going to be a big winner for you, but some stiff competition there as well. Mike, thanks for taking your Sunday morning out to talk to Test Miles. We've got a lot more to come on the show still. Peter's going to be here from Mobile West talking about what the things that you did not get when you bought your car from the dealer and you wish you'd had put on your vehicle. We're also going to be talking a little bit to Ryan from Afterglow Detailing about some products that he's been testing on his vehicles this year. And don't forget, still more fun facts to come from Jen. Woo! all that to look forward to when Test Miles returns. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Pow! Test Miles Studios right here, America's Car Radio Show. I'd like to thank you for being part of the Automotive Nation. Check out our automotive stories on Coin 6 News. Jen, fun fact time.
The average car cycle is a refresh every 2 to 3 years and a complete new model every 4 to 6 years. So for mainstream luxury vehicles, they usually don't change until 10 years. So apparently upgrades are needed.
You know, something people, as computers are becoming more of the way of designing cars, and people are doing everything, wind tunnels are all computerized, all those sort of things. They're almost being able to design a new car every year now. It's changing so fast. And of course, when you see a new car, they're already halfway through the design of the next new version of the car too as well. All right, so when you have a car from a dealership, you buy it brand new, maybe there's some things you get home and you realize you didn't have on that car that you just purchased, some tech or some safety upgrades that you didn't get, or you couldn't afford perhaps when you got it brand new. So what do? Well, you call Peter at Mobile West, and then Peter takes care of everything that you didn't actually get on the car. Peter, so let's talk about the things that we can do to our car. Let's say you need blind spot detection or some other things. What are you able to do to my car to make it fabulous?
Oh, I can actually put the exact same tech that the dealerships are putting into cars. Right now, we just got a brand new shipment, new lane departure cameras that will also warn you in advance of a collision.
All right, so collision warning
Collision
cameras.
warning.
I don't think car companies do that. They flash the little light, but they don't warn you. The cameras don't warn you that there's going to be a collision. The lane departure warning camera. So that's new. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So they'll warn you if you're getting out of your lane, warn you if a collision is imminent, give you that extra time and extra attention if you're distracted to keep yourself safe.
I like that.
Right.
I like that.
And we can add that to a car. You don't have to buy the top-line $38,000 Chevy Malibu to get that. You can buy the $22,000 Chevy Malibu.
And then you'll stick it on.
And we can put it on.
All right, how much is it going to cost me if I stick it on?
About $800.
All right, well, I
but
guess
that's actually probably less than what the car manufacturer is going to charge for that tech upgrade.
All right, 360-degree cameras.
Absolutely. We can do those now.
Now, this works because you have your camera in the front, one in each mirror, and then one. And how do you do that? I mean, do you drill holes in the mirrors and feed? I mean,
yeah.
Really?
Feed wires into the.
It seems like
car?
super complicated.
Well, yes and no. I mean, the way to phrase that, okay, so a 360-degree parking cameras the computer will generate a top-down view of the vehicle, allow you to park right in, parallel park, or get into parking spots, make sure you're at the right distances and that you're never going to have an issue. They'll also, those same things have front parking cam if you're pulling up and you want to see just in front of you, reversing cam so you can see behind you, and also blind spot detection. So when you turn your turn signal in, the screen will show you what's on the left hand of the side of the vehicle, or right hand side of the vehicle.
Because Honda's the only company that's actually doing that from the factory. So I think
it's only the right side.
Yeah, it's on the right side. So if we do it both, I like that too.
Yeah, no.
So you're actually doing things that car companies aren't doing on top of that.
Well, the aftermarket has always done things that car manufacturers don't do yet, because you can go make one-off products, design new tech, be able to put it into existing cars, and then as they take off, then car manufacturers decide that they want to have that.
So when we got our Sedona, it came in about 3 different packages, and we stepped up to the middle one.
Wait a second, 3 different trim levels. Because when you say you got 3, it sounds like you got it and you had to assemble it. It came in 3 different packages. We had to put it together like IKEA.
I was supposed to get the Sedona.
3 different trim levels, I think.
3 different trim levels. And
IKEA Sedona.
Yes, but they packaged things together like that. So we had to get a couple of things, but there was 1 or 2 things that we wanted to upgrade, but you had to buy. It was another $2,000 or $3,000 we didn't.
See the guy sitting next to you? He can fix that for you.
Absolutely. Every day.
I always love the
we do that
360
every
too.
day.
360 cameras are probably the best.
Well, it saves your tires and rims, because that's the one thing. Rims are getting so big now and curbs are so high that it's easy to scrape them. So it's like you actually can see how close you are to the rim.
Right, let me ask you this question. It's quiz Peter time. So I recently bought a brand new Mini Clubman. The Mini Clubman doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but I really like the car's navigation screen and everything it has in it. I'd like Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but I don't want to put a new whole head unit in. Do you have a secret device?
Not yet, but
All right.
I have without fail that would be coming so that you can add it to a car that already has a factory system.
Right.
Right? They're going to be people making video interfacing and overlays.
Yeah, it's
so that
just
you
a
can add that.
software update or a miniature hardware software update, probably.
Right. Right now we can do screen mirroring onto your factory screen.
Right.
So,
Oh, I don't mind
anything
that
you choose
either.
from your phone, you can use Waze, you can use Netflix, you can use any of those apps, and that will
Don't be using
overlay on the
Don't be
factory.
using
Yeah.
Netflix while you drive.
No, that's
I'm
awesome.
not
I want Netflix.
I don't want any
Yeah.
responsibility. No, you don't, Sean.
I could have ESPN live playing the whole time.
I want to get a Bugatti with that and then watch Top Gear and try and match everything that they're doing.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
There will be openings for Brad and Sean's positions on the show coming soon because they are not going to survive if they have this put in their car.
It's Darwin at work. So, but yeah.
And-
So right now we can do screen mirroring of your HDMI from your smartphone on your factory screen.
I just hear
It is
Brad go.
shown-
I hear Brad go from I just bought a brand new Kia Sedona to now I'm buying a Bugatti, which is kind of a step up, Brad. I'm just saying.
Right.
Then-
You're going to rent a Bugatti Veyron and do that. Yes, exactly. Do that with somebody else's car, please.
All right, so you can put all these things. And what other sort of devices that I want that I didn't get at the dealership that I want that I should have? Tell me about them.
Yeah, blind spot detectors. I mean, they are. They can be done aftermarket. And actually, we're on the third generation of tech with those. So they're now instead of ultrasonic, they're radar systems. They're installed inside of the bumper, so you see no changes. And they're speed sensitive now as well. So they turn off at low speeds or if you're turning lanes. But going down the road, if somebody's in your blind spot, you get a little light. If you turn your turn signal on, it will also give you an audible warning that somebody is in your blind spot if you are trying to turn.
It's a good thing
which
I'm
is
not endlessly
lovely.
rich because I'll be spending all my time down at Northwest. I'll be at Peter's place, and I'd be like getting my car out with it. Ooh, I want one of those. Ooh, give me one of those.
Well,
Can I have
see,
one of
that's
those in
why
my
you've got
car?
to visit every so often because tech advances.
Right.
Capabilities advance all the time. I mean, it's just like you upgrade your smartphone every other year. The technology in your car can be updated.
Or if you're like Sean, you're updated every year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Because things advance, things progress, and
Oh yeah, sorry, Brad's every 50 years.
exactly. But in these days of technology, they keep advancing faster and faster than car manufacturers can keep up. So we can do whatever you'd like to the car that you already own.
All right.
Can we pump exhaust? Can you do the exhaust pumping like a lot of the manufacturers are doing and actually getting a real exhaust note on some of the cars? Because I last week or whatever, I wanted to pump the Mustang or just make that Kia Soul sound nice. Can we do that to an electric car?
I actually engineered systems like that back in the 80s when I was getting my double E from Tulane and did that 25
That's
years
what we
ago.
need.
There were
Right?
guys that
I can make that.
There's
If
a
you
great
would like,
video.
I will hand make you one, period.
There's a great
That's
video.
what that means.
There's a great video online where these guys have peeling out sounds, and they sit next to police cars, and they pull away at 5 miles an hour, and the peeling out sound starts, and the cops, of course, are, woo, pull them over and stuff. Peter, where can we find a shop, and how can we get a hold of you?
Get a hold of me. You can go to our website and email me directly, mwpdx.us. You can also come visit us. We're just at 2111 Northeast MLK.
I'm going to be there every day. Can't stop me. You're not my real mom. All right. Ryan's been testing some products in Afterglow detailing. Ryan, what have you been testing and how did it work?
I've been testing out a top coat, which is something you can put on top of wax or sealant, so it just makes your car stay clean for even longer.
And did it work? How was it and how much is it?
Well, I put it on 2 days ago. My car is still clean, so I will let you know in a couple weeks, but it is on sale right now on mothers.com, so you should go check it out.
All right. That's absolutely excellent. Thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you to the whole crew. Of course, Test Miles 24/7 at testmiles.com. You'll see us here next Sunday. We'll have a special green show next Sunday talking all about the latest green cars that are available and some of the ones that we test drove. I think about 15 or 16 of them that we test drove all in a row with with the crew that actually makes the cars. And you can catch me on Coin in the Oregonian, and of course here every Sunday morning on Test Miles KXL. I'm your friend Nick Miles. Check you out next week. See you soon. Bye.